Hey everybody, this is Billy at Bakersfield Tough, and man, we got something cool for you. Now, you guys know that Bakersfield Tough, we do oil here, and we got something really neat. We're here at San Joaquin Bit Service, and Johnny Bedingfield, the oil editor of Bakersfield Tough, everybody knows Johnny, and we're here with Jason Mundorf, and he works here at San Joaquin Bit Service, and we're going to get into drilling bits today, right, in the oil field, because they are a key component of oil, right?
Yes, they are. I work a lot here with Jason on identifying the bits for different wells that we drill out here. I mean, we can drill anything from a 500-foot well to a 15,000-foot well. So there's a lot goes into it, and what I want to cover in this magazine is the bit technology that San Joaquin Bit has to offer, and kind of what goes into selecting the proper bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that said, here you'll see an arrangement of roller cone bits, from mill tooth bits to tungsten carbide insert bits,
Yeah.
the PDC fixed cutter drill bits. We represent National Oil Varco Reed High Claw drill bits here. NOV is one of the largest distributors and manufacturers of drill bits around the world, and we're their exclusive agent here on the West Coast.
I think it's fair to say that you don't just slip any bit on the end and start drilling, right? I mean, this is like a science in itself, right?
Yeah, bit selection, there's a lot that goes into bit selection, from the formation that you're drilling, the lithology, the drive type, whether it's on one of John's motors or rotary steerable, a lot of different things. And here in Kern County, we produce oil from a couple hundred feet to 15, 20,000 feet. So there is a lot of different things that go into the bit selection.
And also, you can recondition bits, right? I mean,
we do, and we'll kind of get over there and show you the process where we take
awesome.
a dull mill tooth bit, a roller cone, which is a tri-cone bit.
Yeah.
It's got 3 cones, and they actually rebuild or retip a bit of a welding process, building the tooth back up.
That's awesome.
Rerun those bits.
That's like the backbone in the old tri-cone roller cone bits. I mean, it's been around for a long time.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it. All right, so where do we start? Let's go. I'll follow you guys.
Okay. Adam's got a couple rock bits. These are your 2 primary roller cone rock bit. On the left is a mill tooth bit. It's a steel tooth. This is kind of a unique bit in itself, where it's a forged tooth.
Wow. Yeah, they're different, right?
Yeah,
this is
so here you have a tooth bit. This is your softer formations.
Okay. It's like a cast, right? Or is that
actually is. So it's a unique process that Reed High Claw has. Is a tough cutter bit. The cone itself is cast. It's done under pressure and lower temperatures than an actual welding process.
Yeah.
And that's for your softest of formations.
Okay.
And then sticking with the rock bit, or the tri-cone bit, as you see, you got 3 cones.
Yeah.
This is the tungsten carbide insert.
This is hardcore, right?
Better known as TCI.
Yeah.
This is used in crushing rock, usually harder formation rock, and these vary. The number of inserts actually in the bit, and the protrusion, the length of that insert can vary quite a bit depending on how hard a formation you're drilling, medium to hard formation rock.
So explain to me how this works. I mean, I see these things here, like, okay, so the bit's in the ground. How does this thing function? I mean, these things spin right here. I mean, how does this work?
So as the bit would be driven, obviously it's upside down here, and your cones are going to interact with formation, and the bit is driven either by a mud motor or some sort of rotary device from the drilling rig itself. It's turning to the right, and then your cones, as they're engaged in formation, are going to turn also. So you'll see how that works. You've got drilling fluid coming through the bit and then carrying the cuttings back up the borehole.
Wow. Yeah, that's amazing. Is there technology happening all the time with drilling bits?
Constantly evolving.
Because it looks like a simple thing, but I mean, it's not, right?
We've got a lot of competitors, and it's a busy market, so we keep each other on, everyone's on their toes trying to come up with the next best thing, or outdoing each other. So, polycrystalline diamond compact.
Oh wow.
PDC bit. This is here you have no moving parts, so these blades are fixed, as you can see.
Okay.
And the only thing that's moving is the bit itself as it's driven. And these are actually a man-made diamond, and it's on a tungsten carbide substrate.
Wow. And
they're pressed under high pressures and temperature. And here the diamond engages the formation, and it's more of a shearing, cutting action.
Right. And these right here is where everything goes back up?
Again, that's your nozzles. That's where actually the mud is coming down through the drill string and through the bit, and then back up the hole, carrying your cuttings back up the hole.
Wow, that's amazing.
Keeps the bit cleaned off.
Yeah.
It keeps it cool.
What's the RPM on something like this? Does it range?
There's a big, wide range, but I would say anywhere from 80 RPM to several hundred RPM. Ideally with a bit like this, probably 80 to 150 RPM.
And that's another thing when we work together is our drilling motors above this, and depending on what we want to do as far as bit RPM goes, we'll discuss about what kind of bit RPM goes, and then we'll use a low speed or medium speed motor to achieve that RPM.
Is a slower rotation mean, is it going to cut harder surfaces better, or is it you just don't want to burn the bit up? Is that, or how does it?
It's going to dig in.
It's going to dig.
Kind of make, when we're making a direction change, sometimes we'll slow the pumps in to get a bigger dog leg. It just depends on what we're doing at that time in the hole.
Yeah.
So,
and it's hard, it's amazing because you have to actually decide like what's going on from the surface, right? I mean, you're talking like.
Oh, we decide what's going to happen months before we actually do the work. We just run through different scenarios, and as far as jetting size, hydraulic analysis on what we're going to do when we come to drill the wells. I mean, of course things change when we start drilling, but I mean, we can go from this has a 6-blade PDC bit, and sometimes we'll go to a 5-blade, and we're just about steerability. It's all about steerability too, and that's just, there's a lot that goes in before we actually get to the job.
Right.
And so as the drilling actually goes on to, you have people on location that are looking at those cuttings, and they're diagnosing that, telling us what kind of formation we are cutting. So we do change on the fly, and a lot of times you do have to change that bit up based on the formation you are cutting.
Okay, now this thing looks like the Cadillac of all drill bits. What are we looking at here? This is pretty complex.
Well, again, this is like the other PDC bits we saw. It's a fixed cutter bit, but a little bit different. Instead of drilling a concentric hole like you saw over there, a 9 7/8 drill bit, this particular bit, it's a Bison bit, so it's got multiple diameters. Here, this bit will pass through, the largest diameter here is 9 7/8 inches, so it'll pass through the ID of a 10 3/4 casing, which you could only get a 9 7/8 concentric bit through. Yeah. And then once it's in formation, the center changes here, and now this pilot's in formation, and it allows these reamer blades here to pass all the way around and actually drill a larger diameter. So this bit with a 9 7/8 pass will actually drill a 10 3/4 hole.
Wow.
So instead of making another trip and getting a bigger bit to make another run, which adds rig time and money, basically you're drilling, you know, your pilot bit's drilling a smaller diameter, and you're opening the hole while you drill, so it saves you a trip from.
Wow. So this is pretty cost efficient. It's kind of cost efficient.
And it's ideal for different reasons. You can get a larger drill string, another bigger liner or casing through the casing above, but around here we use them primarily for soft swelling formations. So here, when your formation would tend to swell on you, this is going to open the hole up, bigger hole. You can allow it to swell without sticking your tools in the hole.
Right, and these are diamond right here. Are these diamond?
Yeah, it's all PDC cutters, which is the polycrystalline diamond.
Wow, amazing. Okay, now we're in the. Is this the recondition area? I guess would that be? I mean, what's this area called?
The dull bits come in, and these guys here retips the bits. It's
so are these bits right here ones that have come out of the field, or which ones are good?
These bits have all been used before. They're in different conditions. Some are more worn than others.
Yeah. So this is. Let me show you what one might look like that's worn out. So this one's seen some action, right? You can see the teeth
are correct. The teeth are worn down. You've exposed the steel there, and what these guys are going to do is take a tungsten carbide metal and build that tooth back up. Will it be like the new ones we saw?
Will it be as good as new, pretty much, when it's all reconditioned?
Well, it's a different quality carbide probably, and the manufacturing process is different, and this has already been worn down. Yeah. There's a kind of a time and a place for all types of different bits, and we kind of hit on the shallow applications here in Kern County. Right. So that's what these are primarily used for, is drilling shallow oil and gas wells.
And what are these over here? I mean,
these have been completed. The guys have tipped them. They're waiting to go out and be buffed and painted and put back into inventory. So you can see these with a sharp tooth on them.
Oh yeah, wow. That's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Speaking of work.
And this is really a lost art what these two gentlemen do here.
Okay, so who are we talking to here?
I'm Kent Jackson. I've been working for Brad for about 15 years, I guess, doing this.
How did you get started in doing bits? I mean, how do you get,
I knew Brad before, and he hired me, and I used to do some other things for him, and he had an opening on this end of it, so I said, I'll do it. I have a little girl, so I help coach the teams and stuff for her, so this kind of frees me up to go do that sort of stuff, and then I can come back in the evenings. And
yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Now who we got over here?
Dan Casper.
Dan what?
Casper.
Okay, Dan Casper. And how long you been doing this?
About 35 years.
35 years?
Yeah.
Has it changed much, the technology of rebuilding a bit?
No.
It's the same. No, he's saying it's a lost art form, right? I mean,
it really is. There's not a whole lot of these guys left, you know. It's kind of a unique oil field here in California, and these guys.
Well, the young guys don't want to learn this stuff, man. What's?
I don't know. Well, Danielle, how many? Didn't you say there was a bunch of shops that did this when you started?
Oh yeah.
How many?
A lot more. There was a lot more need for it back then.
Right.
You know, there's a lot of changes in the drilling industry.
Yeah.
Where it's not as necessary to use this type of equipment.
Right. Okay. So I'm gonna watch you guys. Now let's explain what we got here. Now we got a big. Looking at this thing, we got a big tub of water, right?
Correct.
And that's to keep the whole thing cool, I would imagine, so it doesn't overheat, right?
Just keep the water level up so it protects the seals inside the cone here.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So that way it keeps them cool and doesn't blow the seal out.
Okay. Let's see. Now you got some rod here.
Yeah, this is the rod we use. So.
Okay, and that's just like a what is this made out of?
Tungsten, and then
tungsten
it's
steel
filled with a special.
It's a steel casing and a tungsten powder.
Okay. And then can we watch you do your art form here? Do you mind?
Sure.
Okay.
This bit's almost done. I'm just kind of cleaning it up.
Okay, so let's show. You're doing the cleanup part of it right now.
Right.
And you're doing the. Are you actually doing some welding, or what do you got? Okay, so let's show the cleanup part of it. Let's show what that has going on with it. Got a torch here. So you have to. Wow.
I'm just doing the final phase of the whole tipping job. It was a dull bit.
Yeah.
Cleaning up. This is called the core cutter.
You know what? When I heard you say you were cleaning up, I thought you were going to break out a grinder. I didn't know you were going to break.
No, they get all that done for us out there, and they're ready to tip once I get in here.
Wow, you put an edge on that thing, man.
Yeah, so this is done now. It's ready to go out and be painted, buffed and painted, and then it'll go out to the field.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow, very cool.
He's going to actually finish up some teeth.
Okay, so let's see a tooth here. Now, what do you use? Are you using the torch? Yeah. Okay. Wow. So you just added that metal on there. You would never know that that thing was cut down right there. Wow, that's amazing. It's amazing work. That's cool. Thanks for showing us that.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, we won't get in your way anymore. Thanks.
Say 5 years ago, we found a pretty big play out there for one of the big majors, and we hit this chert style formation, which is really hard formation and really hard to steer, where your ROP you could be drilling at 50 foot an hour and all of a sudden bam, you hit a different formation, which is the chert, and you go to 5 foot an hour. Well, that just didn't work for the oil companies.
Yeah.
You know, it's all about efficient drilling. So Jason will tell us a little bit about this hybrid bit, which has definitely increased ROP through that chert formation.
Yeah, this is NOV's kind of introductory into the hybrid technology. And what we have here, at first glance, it looks like the other PDC bits that we saw.
Yeah,
and it essentially is your primary cutting structure is still a PDC cutter. But what we've done here is this has fused an diamond impreg drill bit and a fixed cutter PDC drill bit together. And the secondary cutting structure here is actually, these are not diamond cutters like they look like, you know, at first glance. They're actually forged together in a diamond impreg material. Yeah. It's a fine diamond grit that's pressed, and this bit kind of took us to the next level in drilling those real demanding chert and hard formations. So what we have here is a primary cutting structure PDC, and as that PDC begins to wear down, essentially at that point the bit would quit drilling in the past with the PDC bit. Yeah. We can now utilize the diamond impreg material, and we found that we're able to keep on drilling and a lot more efficient, a lot more hours on the bit, a lot more hole drilled.
Yeah, the chert formations, one of the deeper formations, and usually these bits will usually be on the bottom of a rotary steerable tool.
That's correct, yeah.
Yeah, that's cool technology.
Now here you'll see, this is probably the biggest rock bit you'll see, at least the biggest I've ever seen in my 20 years.
So we saved the best for last. Look at this thing.
It's a 36-inch diameter.
What would you possibly have to drill something that big for?
Well, they're trying to get probably some big 28, 30-inch casing in the ground, maybe, or conductor at surface. So,
man,
a big pipe.
Yeah, these are used to spud the wells in, and then each section you're going to reduce the hole size.
Yeah.
So this is basically where you'd start, and these bits were probably using geothermal applications and stuff like that, maybe in Nevada and Idaho, wherever you're doing geothermal work.
I guess with a place called San Joaquin Bit Service, you have to have all the bits on hand, right? I mean, you need to have...
Yeah, we need to have everything here for our sales staff, you know, and a lot of things come up last minute, you know, that you can't plan for. So typically when the customer calls for an oddball size bit like you see in there, they need it today or they needed it yesterday.
Right.
And not
times
tomorrow,
everything.
So.
Yeah. Well, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what you guys bring. You guys are in the next issue of Baker So Tough, of course, and we're going to do something really cool with it. Johnny's going to be helping him, right? The oil editor.
Yes.
And yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I want to thank Jason. I want to thank Johnny. It's been kind of cool. It shows us behind the scenes look at San Joaquin Bit Service. Very cool.